If you'll kindly sign in and state your name for the record.
My name is Robert Serafini. I am a resident of Monroeville. Can anybody tell me why the Temple tabled the meeting tonight?
Yeah, Bob, I believe their engineers were not available, is what I was told.
They haven't been available for 3 years, right?
I understand. That's what I was told, their engineers. Am I correct in that, Mr. Hughes? Or Mr. Shufo, maybe?
Mr. Shufo fielded the call.
Yes, your engineers are not available.
Was that complete? No other reason?
That is one of the reasons why they tabled our application.
May I have the other reason, please?
I don't have it.
There were, at the Citizens Night, there were comments made under the Citizens Night portion of the work session that pertained to their application. And it's a principle by the municipality. We usually do not invite the applicant to the council work session. They're only invited to the council regular scheduled meeting for the public hearing. They felt that some of the information that was said during the workshop, they wanted an opportunity to have a voice when that information was brought forth to this council by residents of Turnpike Gardens. So that was the other reason. So as a request of their tabling, they're going to have an opportunity to attend the work session for council for the October council meeting.
Do you think that's fair? The reason they wanted to table it partially is because of the fact that they didn't come to the council, I mean, like,
Mr.
the citizens
Serafini,
meeting?
I did consult with our counsel, our legal counsel, and I'm going to defer to Mr. Dice on the MPC rolling it. You have to allow for a request to tabling.
Yes, this is their first application for table before this body. I understand there were tables done at the Planning Commission, but that's not the same thing. This is a conditional use process, which is specifically defined under the municipality's planning code. It calls for council to take testimony. It's quasi-judicial in nature. It's adversarial in nature to some extent. Oftentimes it's not, but the code calls for that kind of conduct. When an applicant makes a request for table for the first time, if you were to deny that and then deny the project, I can tell you Judge James would laugh and say, send it back and tell him to listen to him.
Okay.
Now, just one more thing. I think that if council is of a mind that they don't want this to be tabled any further, I think that they'll be acting on this table tonight, but my advice would be to make sure that they get notice vis-a-vis a letter that says there will be no more tables, that it will take place in the month of October. Fairness really doesn't, fairness is something that I read about the first year of law school. Fairness doesn't come into this. It's an adversarial proceeding. They have a right, just as anybody else does, that owns the land, to make application, and council has to pass on that.
No, the reason
And they're not supposed to get predisposed. In other words, you all have come to council and asked them to do certain things. Know that this council is being instructed not to give comment or offer opinion before the vote's taken, because again, if you did that, you could be predisposed and be conflicted out, and the court would knock your vote out.
I understand what you're saying. The only thing is, we have a lot of people from Turnpike Gardens that would like to make the meetings. We call them up, say, be here. They say, okay, we'll be here. Then we have to call them back and say, don't come this week, come next time. I mean, it's just a really inconvenience to our people as well.
I don't disagree. It's inconvenient to council, too.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, but this is the United States, and an applicant gets one free pass.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get to, sir. Is there just one time?
Well, if council so chooses to give them notice,
Okay, because, I mean, like I said, I agree it's an inconvenience to them, to you people, but it is an inconvenience to the rest of the citizens of Monroeville also. Thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave the floor open for any resident who'd like to address. Hi.
Hi.
Please sign in and state your name for the record that you live in Monroeville. You do not have to give your address.
My name is Teresa Krentz, and I do live in Monroeville. And I'm on the bottom half of what the discussion has been thus far, right across the way on Neighbors Creek. And there's a serious drainage issue right now where we have 2 properties there, and they flood every time it rains. And the previous construction that was done before we purchased the property in 2011 has lent to that already. So are we invited to attend the same workshop?
Absolutely.
And how do we receive notice of that like we did of this meeting so that we know when to schedule accordingly?
It will be, who has a calendar right in front of them?
I do.
It's always the first.
First
It's
Thursday.
the
It's
second.
October 9th is the work session.
Okay, October 9th.
Yeah, it's easier.
A month from today.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Bob.
And so we would be able to come in here and participate in that meeting as well to address concerns specific to that
Absolutely.
group?
Absolutely.
Oh, my.
Okay.
Yes.
And are
So
those-
that you're aware, the workshop session is a session that I'm going to advise council not to make any comments. Again, do not make any comments at that session. The actual conditional use application hearing is held on the second Tuesday, which is what
14th.
date? The
14th.
14th. That's the time to come and give testimony. It's not at some work session. That does not carry any legal weight.
Well, the work session interest on my part is just to learn a little bit more about what they're doing and the impact it'll have on my
You have
property.
absolutely
But I
right
want you to
be here.
recognize
Understood.
that it's the council meeting and the
Is where the
conditional use
vote happens.
that happens on October 14th, that you need to put your testimony in, which is the record that we'll use to make the decisions on this case. It won't be based upon
The work session.
the work sessions.
Okay.
So whatever's said at the work sessions is fine for informational purposes, but it doesn't have any legal effect for purposes of the conditional use hearing. And I just want, I'm going to say it for the last time, I get concerned that we get predisposed ahead of time and we start talking. When I say that, I'm directing my comments to council, because it's at that 14th proceeding that you have to vote on this.
Right, and that's wrapped up in a nice package where the workshop might give me more information that'll help me feel safe or not, or worried about the deterioration of my property value.
Right.
And erosion into the stream, perhaps, as well.
But you still have a right at both the work session and the regular council meeting to add testimony into the agenda.
Okay,
That is your right.
all right, thank you.
You're welcome.